Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Elena Fox Starks. Hey guys, I hope that you're doing really well today, and whenever you're listening to this recording and wherever you may be across the globe, that you are remembering to anticipate the needs of others while searching and reaching for your own happiness as well. We all are one. We're one family. Hashtag Soul Tribe. Hashtag Soul Family. And we need to watch out for each other. And having said that, I want to at this time ask for prayers for my listener, Riley, who has had an accident today. She shattered her knee. She was hit by a truck while riding in a golf cart at work. And she'll be in bed for the next 6 weeks listening to Metaphysical Soul Speak. So at least for that part, thank you, Riley. But I am sending you Reiki and prayers. I've already hooked you up to the healing grid. But now I'm asking everybody else, please pray for Riley. She's in her 20s, and this cannot be an easy time for her. I know when I have to be in bed for a couple days, I just get so bored. But when you're 20 and you have a lot more energy, it's like hell, you know? So my heart goes out to you, Riley. I hope they gave you the good drugs, you know, and I hope that you enjoy the show for the next 6 weeks while you recuperate. I wanted to say thank you to Suzanne, who liked my show yesterday on Spreaker. It was really nice to get that notification. So thank you so much for that. Also, I want to say happy birthday to my youngest child. He turned 17 today. Oh my God. I cannot believe my baby is 17. It just seems like only a few years ago that I gave birth to him during the hottest day in Chico, California, and it was a traffic nightmare, and I was having contractions every couple minutes. I got to the hospital and gave birth within 45 minutes. You know, I mean, I'm a Virgo and very efficient like that. After my first child, it took 26 hours on the nose. My water broke at 8:40, and 26 hours later at 10:40, my oldest was born at night. And and that child is a night owl, and my youngest is a morning person, and he was born at 1:49 in the afternoon. I just have a theory about that. I think that if you're born in the evening when the sun is like setting or all the way down, I think that means you're definitely going to be a night person. And if you're born in the middle of the day with all the hustle and bustle, I just feel like that means you're a morning person. I don't know why. I don't know if that's true. I'd love to hear from you guys on that. If you know people that are morning people and they were born in the morning and vice versa. I mean, the father of my children was a night owl, and he was born at night as well. And he's born at after 11 o'clock at night. So he was like, yeah, this is really crazy, you know, totally. You know, I told him that. And my friend Amber, God bless her soul, and God bless Terrell's soul, my husband who died. Amber used to tell me, if you're born afternoon, usually after 1 p.m., that makes you an alien. That you've definitely had lives on other planets. She said the most normal, most human and or boring people she met were people that were born in the morning. And anyone in the afternoon on into like midnight, 2, 3, 4 a.m., they were all from another planet. They're all very cosmic and wild and strange. And the most normal, boring people are born from like 5 in the morning until the afternoon. Weird, right? That was just her observation. She was an astrologer, and so she knew a lot of people. Thousands of people got help to understand their astrology. So I don't know. I mean, it seems like there's something to it based on what I've seen. Definitely my whole family, we're all cosmic as hell. Even though my kids try to fit in a little bit more, it's like they both have the magic, and they know they do. And they both have such a grander, broader picture of life and love and relationships with others and their relationship to the universe and how everything is gonna kind of fit together. You know, my oldest went to the Bay, and ever since he's gotten there, I mean, he's written me, and we've started some of the most profound conversations. But if I tell him my side, he's like, "Oh, Mom, I don't want to hear this right now." But his insights are just, it's like pretty much the same that I'm coming up with. He doesn't want to hear the word ascension, but he's like, "Mom, I know there's a matrix. I've seen it. I've seen it. I've gone deep into it, and I've seen it. I see how the whole world is made." And he's like, it's just made up. It's just a simulation. It's not what you think. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's about the time I came up with that conclusion about a year ago. It's been about a year since I dropped acid and started to really see it for myself. And yeah, trippy stuff. So there's that. Also, I wanted to say thank you to whoever in Russia has been listening to my show. So I wanted to say thank you, Moy Goipnik. I am learning Russian. I'm not very good yet, but I am 222 on the iTunes chart, and that's how I know that someone is listening to me in Russia, which is very cool. Belgium, yesterday, someone from Belgium was listening to me, so I wanted to say thank you to you guys for listening to the show. I think someone recently, like about 3 or 4 days ago, in Japan also, I was on the chart. It's iTunes is really weird. It's very finicky. It's like every few minutes your rank changes. And if no one listens to you for 24 hours, you're off the list completely. And if one person listens, you get on the list. And I mean, you could be like 346 on the list or 1, you know. And for a minute there, I think I was like number 1 or number 2 in the Philippines, but that was for 1 hour. But I was ahead of Joel Osteen for just a minute. I was like, whoa. Like, he's ultra famous and I'm ahead of him. So, hey, that's pretty cool. And then within 2 days, I was off the chart. So it's one of those weird and finicky things. But if you wanted to help me out with that, I would love it if you guys went and just wrote a little iTunes sort of review. If you like the show, just, give me 5 stars if you think it's worth it. That would be cool, because then I'd get on the chart, and that would be awesome and get more listeners. So it would help me out, help me keep the show on the air for sure. So, okay, you guys, I had the most incredible dream, and this is a really weird one. In my dream, I was with my youngest son, and we decided, suddenly we have money, and we're traveling the world, and we were going to go to Paris and a few other places, and we decided to go to Egypt, which is, most everyone on the planet wants to go to see the pyramids, right? So we were doing that, And when we got there, and I know this part, there's no way this is true, but there was a bookstore, I guess it's like a gift shop. I want to call it a bookstore, but there was like a part of the pyramid, one of the pyramids, I think one of the smaller ones, and they had a basement. And you go into this sounds so insane, but you go into the basement, and they had all these scrolls on display in cases, like under glass, and they were ancient scrolls that were unrolled, so you could see the ancient writing. And then they had like the hairs, like horse hair that was like woven together and used to tie the scrolls up. And they had it like at the top of the scroll, and you could use it to hang it up like on a nail in the event it's something you wanted to use as art or something, or I don't know, it's like decree from the king, I don't know, or letter from your grandma you want to hang it on the wall, I don't know. But it was very strange. It was like, wow, this is really cool. It's like I've never ever heard of this before. And so we walked around, and then there was like a little gift shop area in this scrolly part. And I said, well, I want to go buy a map because we don't really have a good map of Cairo. And, you know, we wanted a map of the pyramid complexes and where they all were located. And we wanted to go to Abydos. In fact, I almost named my son Abydos. It's one of the ancient temples in Egypt, and his father was one of the original Egyptian builders in that life. He wasn't Egyptian in this life. We were both Irish and Cherokee and German in this life. We're not related, but we had almost the same identical genetic makeup. Is so insane. But I guess our kids really wanted that for some weird reason, that exact mix. But anyway, yeah, so one day I was smoking weed with him, and we're just kind of looking at each other, not really saying a word. And I just, all of a sudden, I just saw him. I closed my eyes for a minute, and I saw him building the Abydos temple. And I told him that, and he was like, you know what? I kind of already knew that life. I didn't tell you because I didn't know if it was a dream or a vision or what, but since you saw it, then you definitely saw it. I saw him as a little boy, and he was there with his father to help out. They were very proud workers. They weren't slaves like people think that all of Egypt was built by slavery and, you know, someone smacking them with a whip. It wasn't the case. They were very honored to work for the king. They were really grateful for the work and very proud. They took pride in the way that they were building the temple. And when I brought that up to him, he was like, oh yeah, I remember, now that you bring it up, I remember how it was done. He started explaining it to me. So it's very weird. But anyway, in my dream, getting back to my dream, I wanted to see like where's Abydos, and how do I get a date to sleep in the king's chamber in the Great Pyramid, and all these wonderful things in Egypt that you can do. And, you know, also I wanted to see about riding camels and, you know, all the fun, cool, touristy things that people do when they're there. So anyway, I sat down, and my son was kind of standing up, not really paying attention to me or whatever, just kind of in his own world, in his own head, looking at the scrolls that were in that room. And I sat down, and this being came and sat down next to me. This little, I don't know, elf, fae folk, and this wee folk. And he just came and he sat down next to me, to my right. And I said, I just bought this map. And he says, oh, I see. He spoke English. And I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to figure out where I want to go. And he says, and so I opened up the map, and it was a normal map of Egypt. And he says, well, ma'am, I think you want to go here. And he touched the center of the map, and the entire map turned into, well, I guess it's a portal. The whole map turned into a portal. Like I could see the edges, and I was holding the edges of it. but all of a sudden it was like swirly gray, not gray, silver. It was like swirly, silvery energy that looked like water. And it looked just like the Stargate TV show. But also it looked just like the pensieve in all of the Harry Potter movies. Dumbledore's pensieve. You know, where he pulls thoughts out of his head and puts them in the pensieve for later because he doesn't always want to think all his thoughts at once. So it looked like that. And he's like, you want to go through that? He's like, I think that's where you want to go. And he said, that's where you're going to find the most information. And I just looked at him and I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah. And I'm all, hey, Virgil, check this out. And he came over and he's like, whoa, what are we going to do? I'm like, I think we're going to go through the map. And he's like, but Mom, is that even safe? And we were starting to argue it when I woke up. I was like, I don't know, should we not? We're trying to debate it. And the minute we started to debate it, I woke up and I'm like, no. I told you the other day I had the dream that I was floating, that I suddenly had the gift of, or power of levitation. And I'm floating around my apartment, floating outside my window, checking on the weather and coming back inside, floating back through the window. Like it was no big deal. Woke up, I was so mad. Oh, I can't float. Damn it. And the same thing in the dream from, this morning. Like, oh my God, I would have loved it if I had a map that has a portal in it to, I guess, another dimension. I mean, who knows if I'd be able to get back, but I suppose if I still had the map, maybe I'd have to go through the back of the map to the front again, maybe. Is that how that works? It was such a weird dream, and I was so happy to have it, but oh my God, what a weird... But I haven't had dreams like that. I mean, if I ever did, it's been a very long time. I remember floating and flying in dreams, like it's normal and natural. But this last time when I had that dream that I was floating, it was like I was telling my son, oh my gosh, I just learned how to float. Look at this. Look, I'm levitating. Oh my God, I figured it out, but I don't know how to control it. And in the past, when I had dreams that I was doing it, it was just natural, and I didn't have anyone to discuss anything with in my dream. But both of these dreams, my son was a part of it. So there was that. And today I was frustrated because my house is always so messy with literally clumps of dirt on the floor. And it's like, I swear to God, I'm on the third floor. I'm sweeping almost every day, maybe every other day, but it looks like every time I sweep, it seems like I haven't swept in a year, and it's never been that long. It's only 2 or 3 days at the most. And I was asking my higher guidance about it. I'm like, I know it's not from me. My room gets a little dusty and then I sweep it, and then, it takes another week before there's maybe 2 or 3 things on the floor and I got to sweep again. It's not that much, it's like normal. And the rest of the house is just phenomenally dirty, like Big Ben lives there, and I was talking to my son about it and asking my higher guidance about it. And this is the conclusion I came up with, is that it's going to be that way until my son realizes that his element is the earth element. And, we have this hereditary magic thing going. And I think that's what it is. And so I told him today, I go, you need to acknowledge to the earth elements that what they're doing. They're trying to get in contact with you, and that's how. And then I started thinking about, I'm like, is that just insane? Is my son incredibly messy? Like, I don't see him doing, it's not like he goes outside and gets a clump of dirt and puts it on the floor and kicks it all around. He doesn't do anything like that. So how is the dirt just following him like that? And I think that's what it is. It's like the spirits of the earth are trying to get in touch with him, and that's how they're doing it. So that makes sense. And the duende has been extremely active. Duende means fairy, fae folk in Spanish. And our duende, he's been in my room today with me, and I told him thank you for reminding me that he's here. He likes me to acknowledge him, I think. And I was watching Friends on Netflix on my laptop, and I had my earbuds in my ear, and I took them out and I just gently sat them, to the side of the laptop on my bed. I was here in my room, and all of a sudden, like, I went to the bathroom or something. Maybe I went and got a cup of tea. I come back, and they're in a knot, a very loose knot, but they're in a knot. I'm like, well, that was weird. So I unknotted them, and I thought, oh, I know who did it. I'm like, thank you, duende. Thank you. I know you're here. I'm glad you're here. And so today the same thing happened. I sat my earbuds down and came back, and they were in a knot again. Just like, remember the other day my necklace was hanging on my closet, was now hanging on my drawer, 2 feet lower, and tied like in a knot. It was a different kind of knot, but still it was a knot. So today I got out a tea bag. You know how you do. You pull a tea bag out of the packaging and you just put it in the cup. No big deal. Well, it got tied into a knot as I was lowering it into, it was a normal string, and as I was lowering it into the hot water, it just went around my finger and got tied into a knot. Like he was on my hand, but I didn't feel him. But I watched the knot form, and I didn't want to undo it, and I just said, "Thank you, duende." It's getting cooler and cooler with the duende. So that was weird. And anyway, so I was thinking about the issue though with the dirt, and I do have fairy folks that come and talk to me, and mom, they call me mum, M-U-M, kind of the very proper, almost like an Irish accent, and they say, would you be needing anything from us then, mum? Like that. Always, like, they come and ask me. I'm like, well, if you could help my son be neater, if you want to clean my house, that'd be great. But if you want to help us be cleaner, that would be good too, right? So I know that I have my fays with me, but they don't. I think they're from the family. I think they go back from ancient days as the energy I get from that. But I don't. But they're not the ones tying anything in knots. And suddenly, since the full moon, this has been happening because we put the duende doll in the moonlight. And so it's like a haunted duende doll. It's like it's got a fairy attached to it. And he's living with us. And the doll itself is adorable. I don't think he looks like that. But I saw him burrowing into my drawer, and I saw my clothes like kind of moving up and down in my drawer, and there was nothing. There's no animal in there. It was the duende, because I went back in there to get something later, and there was nothing in there. It's been raining cats and dogs today, so everyone gets a pet. It's been really rainy. I hope tomorrow is nice. I have plans with a friend of mine, and I'm so excited. We're finally going to get to meet. We've been talking every day for like 2.5 weeks, and I don't know what will come of it, but I have a feeling that we'll end up being very, very, very good friends. And he is so much like me that it's like we'll like write the same sentence at the same time, or like I'll be about to, and he'll say, I'm like, I was just going to say that. But anyway, so I was thinking about this dirt thing, getting back to that. I was thinking about this dirt thing. Like, why is there always so much dirt? And then I realized, wait a minute. That's what the deal is that's my son's element. And I'm like, well, let me think about this for a minute. How do I know? And I know it's not his only element. And I'm like, well, how do I know that that my elements were, contacting me, right? Well, I'm not an Earth, even though I'm a Virgo, and I have a lot of Virgo and a lot of Earth energy in my birth chart, that's not my element, which is weird. Well, my elements are all the other ones. So I started thinking about it, and I told my son, I go, well, I guess it's the reason why I've been able to catch things on fire at the drop of a hat accidentally. I've caught ovens on fire and toasters on fire, and I've ruined about 3 microwaves. And every time I plug in a light bulb, if I'm having a thought when I turn on the light, I have to like clear my mind to make it blank before I touch the light switch, or I'm going to blow out the bulb. One time I plugged in a 10,000 hour bulb that was supposed to last for 2.5 years in my guest bathroom in my apartment in Chico, and it lasted about 10 seconds, not even, maybe 5 seconds. And a loud pop happened, and there was like a fire inside the bulb. And I was kind of mad about something when I turned on the light switch. And I'm like, boy, how time flies. It's supposed to be 2.5 years, and that was like 2.5 seconds. I caught that on fire. And then I started thinking about how, my car caught on fire once. I had an old AMC, a postal truck, and while I'm driving down the road, some wires fell out from behind the metal dash, and they caught on fire, and they dropped onto my foot while I'm driving, and that caught on fire. So it's like my element has been chasing me around my whole life, my whole adult life anyway. So I think that the elements will try to contact you to go like, hey, we're here, and you're supposed to be working with us. This is your magic. And so I was thinking about it, and we both have air, but I don't know what happens with air. Like, I haven't had any air incidences, where things are blowing away, but I have had an energy grab at my bag and everything falls out. I have had stuff like that happen, but maybe air is more psychic visions. And since I've always been working with that, it never had to attack me in a way in which I'm like blown, One time I was blown off the road while riding my bike, though. So I was blown off into a ditch when a semi-truck passed me. But that doesn't seem like it was really that. It was just a weird thing that would have happened to anyone if they'd been in the same situation. Because in Minnesota, the wind blows really, really, really hard sometimes, and out on the plains. So I was just blown into a ditch. But I've been like really thinking about it though. But with water, both my son and I have water as our element, and well, we've been in many, many floods. In Guatemala and in Mexico, we were in a lot of floods. I mean, in Mexico, we were in a flash flood. So I think that might be, but we flooded our apartment twice. And the water was creeping up the wall, and the plugins were like 2.5 feet off the ground. And we were only minutes away from shorting out all the electricity and electrocuting ourselves. One was due to the bathroom sink was just hanging on by a little teeny tiny plastic pipe, and my son leaned on it for like a second, and it busted. And we didn't know there was no way to shut off the water at the wall. And our whole apartment flooded. It was like we were in a 1.5 foot of water before we were screaming. And the people were out of town that owned the house. They were gone for the day. And we were so panicking. We're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It was so bad. And then another time, my son had been playing with a toy or something, and there's a plastic bag, and he kicked it over to the side of the path so no one would slip on it. And when he did that, he accidentally didn't know he was doing it. He clogged a pathway that the water flows when it rains. And all of a sudden we had like a flash flood type rain, and it came through our window while we're eating dinner. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, the window was slightly open, and this water just poured in like a river into our house through, because it was like kind of a semi-submerged, semi-basement apartment. And so it came in through the window, and it flooded the kitchen, but all of the cabinets and the cupboards and all the good work that the owner had done, and he made the kitchen look so beautiful, it just fell apart like it was just paper. And the whole thing flooded, and the whole house was like a foot and a half. So in that apartment, we had 2 floods. And I think that might have been the beginning of the water trying to contact my son. And for me, it's been the water bugs, like the silverfish, keep coming, and when they show up, they want to tell you it's time to contact the water spirits, to connect with the water spirits. And I've always tried to connect with water spirits when I drink water, when I take a shower, when I wash my face. So I wanted you guys to hear this, because if you are in the way of like being in a magical family, even if it skips 2 or 3 generations, because most of our parents and grandparents don't want to even deal with that. They don't think that you could be a Christian and a witch, which is not true. You definitely can. But they don't want to deal with that, right? So it goes back 3 or 4 generations, or more. But most of us come from magic. And if you come from a magicking family, now we're going in the 5th dimension where all of this is coming back in a different way. It's a higher octave of it. We're not going to worry about, birth and babies and crops and all that. We're, thinking about other things like creating peace where there wasn't any, or maybe growing crops, maybe growing fruit in your yard. But I mean, for me, the magic, I've used it just to help people get along. I've used it to bring good luck to others. I've asked for protection for my kids and I, just normal stuff, but nothing bad, obviously, because I'm a white lady. Like a white witch is what they call it, like La Dame Blanche, as they say in Outlander. But it's the elements that have contacted me, and I just realized it's like so weird how this can take years to even understand. Why has this always happened to you? Like, why are these the things that are always happening? Like, if you're outside and the wind is constantly like opening your bag or flipping your hair around or lifting up your dress or whatever it is, or if you have papers and the wind comes up and your papers are constantly flying everywhere. I mean, or maybe leaves are blowing into your face or into your path constantly, or you're always seeing feathers on the path in front of you. That might be the air element coming your way. So I've been thinking about this stuff a lot. It's weird, but I think it's worth thinking about. Like, have you had any weird or unusual activity where you didn't really notice it because it's just like, mud's in the house again? What? It's like, well, how? I'm not like stomping all over the house with mud. No one is. But how is it suddenly everywhere? There's dirt everywhere. I mean, it's just so weird. It's just so strange. And then when you realize it, then that will stop. Hopefully. We'll see. Now that we've recognized it, my son's like, well, I'm going to go talk to the elements when I get outside and see what's going on. So and it might be that. And I think that's why the fire is contacting me so much. But I've always been able to talk to like the spirits in the room, and they can answer me by making a candle flame get really short or move to the right or the left or get really long. I mean, I've seen candle flames get like a foot long when I asked a question. Is that normal? Do you guys see that too? Or is that just me? I got to be careful and control this energy inside me so that I don't catch things on fire. See, at least I wasn't in paradise. I did not do that. I was nowhere near that town when that happened. So thank God that can't be blamed on me. I was in Santa Barbara when that happened, but again, not me. Someone threw a cigarette out the window. I have been caught in fires a couple times though, like 3 times. And then other times I was almost caught in fires too. So, I mean, it's just crazy. All right. The disclosurenews.it is still calling it now power. I don't know why they can't just continue with hertz. But I started thinking about today, the word hurt is in hertz. So maybe they were somehow thinking that they don't want to put that energy of hurt out there anymore. Hertz, multiple hurt. Maybe they were thinking that way. I don't think of it as that way because hertz is the name of somebody. It was someone's last name, and that's how he discovered the frequency. So they call it, like, obviously hertz frequency. But now they're calling it power. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know why they're calling it that. But maybe they could take the T out and just call it hers. and her being, of course, Mother Earth, Gaia, spirit of our planet, maybe. Hers frequency. Maybe they could do it that way. But Power 21 sounds like a game I want to play in Las Vegas. But that's what it says on their page today, Power 21. So what they have to say for themselves, 10 o'clock report. A light activity continued after the previous series of peaks. The average has been around Power 20, basically Hertz frequency, from 18 to 22 UTC. It seems the functionality on the TSU is still not fully recovered. Yeah, most of their chart is blackened today, like catfish. And then at 1700 UTC time, it says, the only significant activity of today has been reported previously. We're now in a situation of calm. So all they said was it was Power 20, and then up here says Power 21. And we all know that power means Hertz frequency. It's insane that it says that. Now, heartmath.org. Sorry, this data is temporarily unavailable. So there's something going on with this. It's like, if it was just one website, I'd be like, well, you know, what can you do? It's just their website, it's their server, it's whatever. I've been having issues with servers and my phone and energy, and, you know, as we're getting anchored into the 5th dimension, I think we can maybe expect a little bit more of this kind of weird inconvenientness. Oh, and speaking of weird inconvenientness, remember I told you guys that I felt that I hopped a timeline like 2 nights ago, that I was sitting here and I was kind of like normal, and then I felt like I must have hopped a timeline because suddenly I felt sick and my throat was bad, and for a couple hours I was just like I couldn't work, and then I finally did. Well, I was kind of not doing much the last 2 days in bed. I was in bed all day today. I was sick again, or just under the weather, like yesterday a little bit, and I felt cold and uneasy, so I was in my room with covers on me and my nice big fluffy bathrobe I just bought a couple months ago, and I was just cuddling under it because I felt so yucky under the weather. Today I felt like, well, I'm going to take a shower and wash my hair. I was going to take my kid out for dinner, and he was at his friend's house for his birthday, and he said, you know what, Mom, let's just order food and I'll be home by midnight and the food will be here by midnight. And I'm like, what? And it's his friend. He's friends with the Indian food restaurant. So I'm like, okay, fine. That's fine. So it's a little late for me because I want to be in bed by then, but hey, you know, that's okay. And he called them and they came at 10:30. So it all worked out. But so I took a shower and I got out of the shower and all of a sudden my face is feeling puffy and red. My whole face is red. My left ear is beet red like my eye was a couple days ago. And my ears, like, it feels swollen inside. Like I have an ear infection out of nowhere. Totally out of nowhere. Got in the shower and I was having a little bit of a, like, oh, my ears are a little achy. Maybe, but I was achy all over. My whole body had absolute pain. I thought, well, I didn't have my caffeine on time, and my son ran out and got me a guarana and from the next door store, And that always, I mean, oh my God, guarana. It has so many antioxidants. It's healthy for you. And it has more caffeine than coffee. So, you know, I'm like, that's going to fix me right up. Also has pain relievers in it, and even theophylline, natural theophylline, which helps asthma. So I'm like, yeah, all right, I'm going to, you know, I'll just have that and that'll go away. And after I drank the caffeine, I was like, I'm still in a lot of pain. What the hell? I went and I got, I was like, well, mint tea, you know, peppermint. So I got my peppermint and I saw my coca tea, and oh yeah, now we're talking. That's how they make cocaine, is with that. So it was just a natural plant. It's not harmful or addictive. It's actually very good for you. So I mixed that with the mint tea and I drank that, and a lot of my pain went away. Like within 20 minutes, I was feeling a lot better. I still have a little bit of pain, but it's not unlivable now. But I've been feeling like really yucky out of nowhere, and at least in my ear, it's feeling a little bit better. And I've been putting Vicks Vapor Rub in my ear. It's so weird, but it just feels like, I don't know what. I might have to see a doctor in the next 2 days if it gets worse, but maybe it's a virus and it'll get better. But so weird, right? If I didn't have plans with my friend tomorrow, I would just strap an onion to my ear, because that's a weird old trick from the 1800s, but it works. If you have an earache and you either put onions on the bottom of your feet, like just slice onions, just, you know, slice it like, I don't know, like a quarter of an inch, and just put the whole slice inside your sock underneath each foot, and you go to sleep. Or you could strap them to your ears, and by morning your ear's going to be fine. But I just took a shower and I'm a Virgo, and I don't really want to meet my friend for the first time smelling oddly of onions. Lest he think I'm a carny folk. It's so crazy, right? I'm sorry, I had to do the slight Austin Powers reference there. Small hands smell like cabbage. It's like, I don't want to smell something weird like that. Like, but, I don't know, it's been a weird day. Oh, so anyway, so all this stuff is going on, and I'm just not feeling good, and my son wasn't feeling good, and he told me his stomach hurt today really badly when he woke up, and I said, well, let's do apple cider vinegar and see what happens. He's like, oh, it's so bad. Oh, my stomach. And then he drank that, and he's like, oh, I'm totally fine now. That's so weird. Who knew? Like, I could have been just doing that this whole time. I'm like, yeah, it's weird. It's something that I knew about and I forgot about, and I rediscovered it like a couple months ago. And so he's like, oh yeah, my stomach's great. And he went out to his friend's house, and they had some beer for his birthday, and he came home and promptly threw up. And he's like, I don't know, I just don't feel good. So he's also not feeling good out of nowhere. But he was on the couch, and I sat on the chair, and I was looking around the room. I'm like, that's weird. I knew I hopped a timeline. And when you hop a timeline, everything is the same except 2% of the things are different. And all along the bottom of the couches and the chair, they all match. They were a set. It always was the same color, or like a slightly darker color on the bottom. And now it's like a reddish tan color, where the couch is like a brown. And it's like, well, I would have noticed that because I love that reddish tan color. It's like color of some boots that my ex used to have, and I think some boots I had when I was a kid. It's one of my favorite colors. It's like a color of cowboy boots. You know, that kind of a reddish tan color. Anyway, I saw that and I'm like, that's weird. You would think I would have noticed that before. And my son's like, it's always been that way. And then he looked again. He's like, wait a minute, hasn't it? I'm all, no, we just hopped timelines. And he's like, no, it's always been this way. I remember. And I go, well, that's because you're from this timeline. I go, well, the last time there was a weird color change in the apartment is, and I showed him these little plastic shelves that we've been using for food that were here when we got here. I said, well, when we first moved here, these were both white, and now this one's gray and that one's white. And he goes, wait a minute. They were both white. They were always both white. What happened? I go, see, you're from that timeline when we first moved in together. But I don't know. It's like somehow we're from different timelines again. This just keeps getting weirder and weirder. I don't know. Do you guys notice that sometimes? Like, wait a minute. That notebook was never that shade of turquoise. It was a little bit different. I mean, I know color, and in colors of things, when they change, it kind of freaks me out because, I mean, I spent a lot of time alone as a kid. I was always sickly as a child. And, I mean, my box of 64 Crayola, baby, the one with the sharpener around the back, I mean, they were my best friends. I memorized every color. I memorized the name of every color. I was always interested in color. So it's one of the things that I always notice. You know, oh, and speaking of color and speaking of noticing, my son came in my room and he opened up the window, the curtains, and before it started raining. And we were looking at the sky because the clouds that are normally gray, various shades of grays, and sometimes a golden gray and then white, today they were shades of cobalt blue and sky blue, but the sky was a lighter blue than the sky blue clouds, and periwinkle, like just like the box of 64, baby. Periwinkle blue clouds, and they were electric. When I used my my third eye chakra, my sixth chakra, and then I also connected to my eighth, and I connected my other chakras to see if I could perceive it differently. And I mean, the periwinkle blue started to take on an electric glow, like a neon light. And my son saw it too. And I'm like, look at the sky. This is a wild, trippy sky God gave you for your birthday. He's like, yeah, this is cool. And he took his motorcycle or bicycle out that he put a motor on, and which I gave him the money to get it done last year for his birthday. And this year he had to get the chain fixed, so he did that, and he rode around on it for a while until the chain broke again. So he's got to go. He brought it right back to the shop. He's like, this is free. You know, it's been on here for like 1 hour and it broke again. You know, I think the guy just gave him a cheap chain or something, you know. But all the guys down at the bike shop, I think they like seeing my son, so they're not trying to sabotage him or anything, but I just think the parts are cheap. But they're so proud, and they're like, God, like, we've never seen anything like this, the way you've done this bike and the way you know, like he had the mechanics do it, and then he takes it to this other shop, and they're like, this is really cool. Like, he used his own imagination to come up with the exact thing that he did. Has a massive exhaust on it. I mean, a bicycle that goes almost 50 miles an hour, and it's all because of the way he tweaked it with the carburetors and everything. And I'm like, so cool. Anyway, proud of my kid. All right. I think that was it. The clouds, periwinkle blue. Was there any other weirdness today? I keep seeing things appear and disappear in my room. Just saw like a spot of white. I think it's a fairy. Ooh, I just saw another one. Hi guys, they're all in here. There's a lot now that I'm looking. And earlier I saw a golden orbish light at the foot of my bed. It popped in and out of existence really quick. I want you guys to start looking around and see if you see this also. Because I have a feeling the more we get closer to anchoring into the fifth dimension, the more this kind of stuff is going to happen. All right, lesson 130 is, it is impossible to see two worlds. It is impossible to see two worlds. Perception is consistent. What you see reflects your thinking. I'm thinking about fairies. And your thinking but reflects your choice of what you want to see. Your values are determiners of this. For what you value, you must want to see. Believing what you see is really there. No one can see a world his mind does not accord it value. And no one can fail to look upon what he believes he wants. It is impossible to see two worlds. Let me accept the strength God offers me and see no value in this world that I might find my freedom and deliverance. So there you go. If you see something you don't like, you're supposed to say, it is impossible to see two worlds. I seek my freedom and deliverance, and this is not a part of what I want. So I've been seeing really awesome things, so maybe I've gotten past that. One thing it does say here, I'm going to read one more paragraph and then we'll be done with this before we take a break. It says, yet who can really hate and love at once? Who can desire what he does not want to have reality? I guess it means in reality. And who can choose to see a world of which he is afraid? Fear must make blind, for this its weapon is. That which you fear to see, you cannot see. Love and perception thus go hand in hand, but fear obscures in darkness what is there. What then can fear project upon the world? What can be seen in darkness that is real? Truth is eclipsed by fear, and what remains is but imagined. Yet what can be real in blind imaginings of panic born? What would you want that this is shown to you? What would you wish to keep in such a dream? Fear has made everything you think you see. All right, well, it goes on and on, but acim.org, or you could download a Course in Miracles app. Always, they are free. All right, guys, I'm going to take a quick break, get into a trance, and I think I'm going to channel the Andromedans tonight. That's what my higher guidance told me, so hopefully that's what we're going to do right after these messages. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's high time you did. It is the absolute easiest way to make a podcast. First of all, it's absolutely free. Second of all, they have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. You guys have known that I've been doing this for 8 months using the Anchor.fm app right on my cell phone, and I have done it everywhere, right? I have recorded this in my living room, my bedroom, little cafes in Quito, Ecuador, all over Cuenca. It's so absolutely easy to make your podcast, and editing is just a snap. Anchor also will distribute your podcast for you, and it took me about 2.5 months to become syndicated, and now I'm available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more, and so can you. You can make money from your podcast also, and there's no minimum requirement. You get paid from your very first listener. It is everything that you need to make a podcast all in one place. So please, if you are interested in making a podcast of your very own, do not hesitate to start with Anchor. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you. All right, guys, we are here with the Andromedans. I'm already connected to them, and I've already done my third eye activation, Ki Asha exercise. And for those of you who are just tuning in to Metaphysical Soul Speak, the podcast, for the very first time, I am an indirect channel. I channel beings through telepathy. I don't allow them to inhabit my body or take over my vocal cords or my limbs, if you will. Now I'm thinking maybe if I did that and they had a better metabolism than me, maybe I'd lose weight during the channeling. Okay, but I digress. I am an indirect channel. I don't allow beings to take over my body. That's just the way I was taught, that you just don't allow something else in your body. And years and years ago, when I was 18, a demon tried to take over my body. And it was scary, and I'm like, no way, never again. A few years later, the quote-unquote Holy Spirit in a holy roller church tried to take over my body, and I'm all, nope, keep it moving, buddy. and then it went into the body of another woman who started speaking in tongues, and ooh, that was a really fun day. I used to go to that church often to see people speaking in tongues because it fascinated the hell out of me. I figured it was some kind of channeling, but if you don't understand what the thing is saying, then what good is it? You know, maybe it's healing light codes, or who knows what it is. I just don't allow things to take over my body. It didn't feel really like it was of the light when I was in that church, but the people were very sweet and gentle and kind, and so it wasn't that. I don't know, but I don't do it. I just don't do it. Anyway, now I'm getting hot, so I'm going to take off my sweater over my tank top. Oh, now I'm cold, of course. I have to get my temperature adjusted, because once I start channeling, I tend to get very, very hot because of all the energy coming through. Okay, they are telling me there will be some light codes coming through for you guys if you start to feel hot as well. That means you're starting to receive the light codes. Okay, they're saying it could be like an electrical or cold sensation as well. So if you hear something and it starts to give you the chills even, that will be a sign that the light codes are, you are ready for them to receive them. So, all right, well, here we go. I'm going to get a little bit, I have this, my nose again I think I'm sick, guys. It's weird, but I'm barely sick. Just very tiny bit sick. My friend said the same thing. Joy, who's one of Riley's friends, actually told me the other day she had she's in her 20s too, and she had a hot flash, like really crazy hot flash feeling. And the next day got really sick for just a little bit, like an hour or something. And then the rest of the day just kind of faded away. And my son, same thing. He was feeling sick earlier, like yesterday, and then he was like better like an hour later, and he's like, yeah, I think I hopped timelines. Like, I jumped out of a sick body into a healthy one, but now I don't know if he's sick or if he's just should have had beer. I think that might have been it. He had a little bit, and it hurt his tummy. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. When your tummy is touchy like that, don't drink beer in South America, that's for sure. It's mild here. It's like water, but it has like a weirdness to it. And you don't get drunk in that high altitudes either. That's another weirdness. You drink the same beer at sea level, half a beer, and you get super drunk. Up here in the mountains, you could drink 40 ounce, and it's just like, doesn't do anything. It's so bizarre. Anyway, I digress, and on with the show. So, I'm doing some stretches. I'm still in so much pain. All right, Andromedans, I'm connected with you. Yes. Are you ready to transmit? They're saying yes. Okay, great. All right. All right, Andromedans, you may start your transmission now. Greetings, beings of light. We are the Andromedans. We would like to say hello, brothers, hello, sisters, and hello, fellow light workers and beings who walk in the light with us. We are a kind people. We are gentle in nature. We love our nature. And everybody on our planet loves everybody else. We are born of a higher realm, in a higher dimension. And we are grateful that we could come to you today to tell you that you are the brave souls that chose to go farther away from God than we dared to go. We are grateful to be where we are, and when we see you where you came from and where you're going, we can only look upon you with awe and admiration. We have a great deal of love, and we feel a strong connection to you. But when you live in the seventh dimension, it's easy to feel a connection with everybody. You are currently being anchored into the fifth dimension. This is the first dimension, or you could call it the lowest dimension, in which there is an absolute oneness. You are coming from a dimension in which everything is polarity, duality, opposites. Opposites attract, opposites repel. There's war, there's peace. And right now, we have seen in your world, there are revolutions, and the revolutions are waking people up. More and more are awakening every day. More and more are becoming aware of spirit, spiritual things, and the spirit inside of them. More and more, the people come to the light. And it's the revolutions, the political and social revolutions, that are sparking many people in these hours. For other people, their spirituality is being sparked when they see the revolutions and the riots and the wars and the oppositions and all of the negativity in people that were your former heroes or persons that you admired, your celebrities, as it were. It's coming to light that they are not the people you suspected they were. And as these false idols fall before your eyes, you have no choice but to turn inward and raise your eyes upward. Instead of looking directly in front of you at your TVs, you look upwards to the heavens. And you turn to a deeper part of yourself, and you look for answers, especially when it comes to revolutions and wars and massive political change on a global scale. You turn towards your spirituality for answers. You don't wish to feel alone. And when you realize that the one true God will never, could never abandon you, it is impossible, because you are a part of Him or her, however you wish to view it. You are part of the universe, whether you like it or not. And the universe accepts you as such. Have you accepted yourself as such? Ah, the grand question. Have you accepted yourself and your part in the evolution of mankind? That's what you need to ask yourself in these hours. We see that your anchorment is about to take place. It's very, very, very close. You may or may not feel it. You may or may not be aware when it happens. even if you don't feel that you were aware when it happened, maybe it happens in your sleep, for example, or you weren't paying attention because you were maybe dancing or at a rock concert, or something was happening outside of yourself that pulls you away from your inner spirit. So if you're not aware at the exact moment at which you become fully anchored in the fifth dimension, how are you going to know it happened? Well, we're going to tell you some hints tonight. Number one is that you're going to suddenly feel a greater love than you've ever felt in your life. Number two, you will feel a connection to all living beings in a much more profound way. And you will feel love without hesitation for all of these beings. Even people that you formerly felt like maybe you dislike them, you don't want anything to do with them, you feel absolutely no love for them. Maybe you even have said, I hate that person. We don't really understand the concept of hate except from our studies of it, because we don't really have this emotion. It doesn't exist in our dimension. So we are in the process of anchoring into the ninth dimension. We were in the seventh and we're anchoring into the ninth now. So as above, so below, as below, so above. And it's wonderful for us to be having a little bit of a connection on that level as well with you all. Some of our people have always been in the higher dimensions because they have taken the time to meditate. But the most of us on the planet have just enjoyed being anchored into our day-to-day activities by living in the present moment. This is something we understand your people do not understand how to do very easily. It's something you have to work at and aim for, because you're stuck in the past in your mind or in the future with your wishful and hopeful thinking. And we know that this can be of detriment to you, because living fully present in the present moment is what gives you the greatest joy and the greatest experience. And if you can't think of the past in the present moment, you have nothing to be afraid of, because you almost don't have a remembrance of the fear thing that made you shake or quiver in your boots, as we see this colloquialism in Elena's mind files, as it were. So how are you going to know when you have already anchored into the fifth dimension? We've given you 2, now 3. Are we on 3? Yes, okay. So 3, you're going to notice a lightening of the colors around you. Everything is going to seem brighter and lighter. And you might not fully comprehend in what way that means, but you're just going to maybe remark to your friends, or they'll say to you, that seems brighter than normal. Everything's brighter. Maybe the sky will be brighter. Maybe your clothing will feel and seem brighter. That will be the 3rd way you're going to know. The 4th way you're going to know that you have fully anchored in the 5th dimension is what you think about, you bring about in a much faster way. You think about a taxi, normally it takes 5 minutes, you'll get one there within 1 minute. You think about maybe buying something on sale. We're trying to relate to, we barter, we don't have money in our world, but say you want to get something for less money and you imagine it's on sale. They might be putting it on sale by the time you arrive at the store, depending on how sharp your focus is. If you have the strongest mental focus, you will bring about what you think about much easier and faster. And that's going to start happening. So whatever you think about, boom, it will happen really rapidly now. And that brings us to the next point. 5 is that your mental focus will be sharper. You're not going to have the lack of mental clarity. You're not going to have a fogginess about you that you've been claiming that you have since the Ascension symptoms started happening to humanity. Number 6, let me ask how many, is there 10 of these? Is there more? Okay, there's 10 of these. Okay. So number 6 is your clothes will start to fit you better as your bodies start to change, and it's going to be very subtle at first. You're not going to notice it right away, but your body will go to the shape and the idea of what you have in your mind for your body to be. So be careful what you think about when it comes to your body. But if you have always considered yourself a thin person and you haven't been thin in years, you're going to start fixing the shape of your body, and it's going to be with your mind, even if it's on the subconscious level. Okay, so 7. Really, there will be no babies born unless you wish it to happen. If you do not wish for a baby and you're not thinking about it during the act of procreation, then it will not happen. So every time you lay with your potential baby making partner, they want to stress that because they don't want to be they don't want to be heteronormative. They want to allow for all expressions, because in their world they have all expressions. They don't have hang-ups about gender or who sleeps with who. As long as you have love in your heart, that's all that matters to the Andromedan people. They say, yes, that is correct. So what they're trying to say is when you lay with a person that you love, in their world they only love the people that they have sexual relationships with. And they love everybody, but they don't love everybody. So they have designated partners. They tend to marry by 4s. 2 people will fall in love, 2 other people fall in love, and then the couples fall in love. Like one couple will fall in love with another couple, and they tend to marry in groups of 4. So that when one person dies, you have 3 left. And therefore, no one is ever alone facing the pain and loneliness and sadness of someone dying. And they say, okay, they're saying right now, yes, we do indeed feel a pang, P-A-N-G, of loneliness for the person who has passed away, even though we honor and agree that when it's someone's time, then we don't want to hold them back. We still do feel sad and lonely for them because, we're used to having them around and we love them, of course. It's not the same. The grief here in our planet is a lot different than on your planet. We have a higher perspective of it. We're not trying to say that we're better than you. That's not what we mean. It's just that we consciously leave our bodies. It's not a long, slow, drawn out thing, but one of us will be called home and we go, and the rest of us, we get a little sad, but it's not. We have remembrance parties. Like you have memorial parties. We have remembrance parties too, but we don't have funerals that are sad. It's much different. We don't have the thick, dense bodies that you guys have either. We are a lot thinner, and even though we appear solid, if you came to visit us, we're not as corporeal as you. And we're in the process of having even less dense bodies as we move up one more dimension, like you guys are doing. Okay, so we're on number 7, yes? Okay, so number 7 is, I'm sorry, They lost their train of thought like I did. Okay, so number 7, it was the next one. This is so weird. So how do we know that we're anchored into the 5th dimension? We had 1 through 6 already. Okay, they're like going down the list. You say, oh yes, 7. Okay, so they just said, oh yes, 7. Okay. So how do you know you're anchored in the 5th dimension? What will be the signs? Oh yes, 7 was that the bodies. Your body will feel lighter, less dense. So number 6 was your clothes will fit you better. 7 is going to be that you're going to be less dense, and you're going to flow and move about your days and nights easier. Less physical pain, less discomfort and disharmony. And that's why right now what you're feeling is a discomfort in your bodies. It's a necessary sort of growing pain. Maybe a metaphor that you guys use quite often is the butterfly that didn't know it's a butterfly, just thought it was a caterpillar. And then it goes into the prison of its own making. And then when it's ready, it cuts through at great pain to itself. And it's so closed, wrapped up tight and warm. And then it goes out into the world where its wings are wet and it's cold. And then after a few minutes, what might seem like an eternity to the poor butterfly, it will dry its wings in the sun, and then it will learn to fly because it's less heavy. And even though you guys aren't going to necessarily learn to fly, you are going to feel the pain, and then after that it's going to feel less dense and a lot less pain, and your lives will physically become much easier. All right, so number 8 is you're going to notice the colors. Oh yes, the delightful, glorious, beautiful, wondrous colors of the universe. As you go up, your eyesight, as you are already aware, is going to be connected with different chakras, not just with your physical eyes. Even your physical eyesight will get better. You are going to see the colors. The higher realms are going to present themselves to you. They always have been. It's not that plants are suddenly more electric green. It's not that flowers are more electric pink or red. They always were those colors, you just couldn't perceive them. Now that you're going up in vibration and getting less and less dense, it's going to be easy for you to see the higher frequencies of colors that you didn't even know were there, even though they always existed. So we are excited for you. We're so happy that you're going to start seeing more and more colors. In our world, we are blown away at the beauty of the sky, and it's almost like a rainbow, the way that it changes every single day. The colors are new and fresh. It's like a brand new art canvas every day. And this is going to start to happen again in your world. So number 9, your friendships are going to be deepening and will have more meaning. Your friendships are going to start to have more profundity, more spirituality, but also you're going to attract the ones to you that have all the things in common to you. Instead of trying to become friends with someone who has absolutely nothing in common with you, they will gravitate to the people that have something in common with them. So if your hobbies are petting cats and crocheting pot holders, you're going to find someone who does that. If your hobby is to put together motors and engines, you're going to find people that wish to do that. If you are a cook and you want to have a business, you're going to find the perfect business partner who also likes to cook the same kind of food as you. Your friends are going to gravitate to you, and it's going to feel like you have known them forever, because indeed you have. Now is the moment, now is the time in which these deeper friendships will start to come together. You're going to draw to each other, or to you, the ones that are in the same ray of light, as some of you put it. So, for example, if you subscribe to that belief system, all the blue rays will come together. All the green rays, the emerald rays will come together. All the golden rays will come together. And it's going to be a lot more seemingly organized or orchestrated by the cosmos, but in reality, it is your own soul putting out a beacon, and it will be answered by all the other souls, and you will answer other people's beacons as well. So you're going to just be more aware on some levels of the frequency, the energetic frequency that is emitted by each and every one of your souls. And it's almost like an electric energy in the air. And when you come together with someone who is of like mind, like matter, like soul, you're going to be overcome with a peace, a sense of belongingness. And this is something that most of you have been longing for, is that belongingness. That's why some of you are joiners. You're just looking for your people and your tribe. This is the moment in which you will be finding them. And after you get fully anchored into the fifth dimension, it's like you're going to all gravitate to where you need to be, with who you need to be with. A lot of you have already moved to a different place in the past 5 or 6 years. A lot of you have already started the process of moving to where your tribe is. And it's going to become more and more apparent, and these new people that you meet will become as family to you, and they're going to feel extremely comfortable to be around. And for this, we are so excited for you, to be honest. We are so grateful for this. And they said they want to go back to the sky thing. I asked them earlier to talk about the purple skies. Yes, this is what we're talking about. As you get more and more anchored into the fifth dimension, the skies are going to be all manner of beautiful colors that you never remembered seeing before. And that is indeed why the skies have turned purple all over your planet. And, you know, it was said that there's radiation in the air from Japan, and that's why the skies are purple. Not true. That's not what's happening at all. You are getting bombarded and lambasted by energy, cosmic energy from the grand central sun going through the portal of your own sun. And it has ignited and activated the upper atmosphere, which gives it the different hues and colors. But it's so magical that the colors that you get are the colors that you needed at that moment. Florida has been receiving a lot of purple. This is to get a lot of the sad energy out, but also to bring more love energy in. This, if you've seen dark purple skies, that's because too many people are still looking to their shadow selves to give themselves guidance, when they should be looking to their true selves to get rid of the negativity that is causing the shadow to overshadow the personality, if you will. Hopefully that is a good enough explanation for you guys. All right, number 10 on the list, and this is our final for our top 10 list of how do you know you are being fully anchored, you are fully anchored already into the fifth dimension. you will draw love to you. Every kind of love possible. Not just your friendship, but animals will start to gravitate to you. You will feel love radiating from them, beaming directly into your heart. You will feel a connection with nature unlike anything before that you felt. The energy of opposition will no longer exist. You will feel the love, and you will draw to yourself friendship, familial, in what we like to say, the innocent love, where maybe little children will come and run up to you and hug you, or hand you a flower, or stray dogs in the park, even wild animals will pause and come a little closer, and they might wink at you. And it's going to feel like they're loving you. They're sending you that friendship, joy, energy. And your romantic partners, if you wish to have your romantic partners. And we did say earlier, this kind of goes along this line, if you wish to procreate and you think procreation when you lie with your love, if you lay in bed with your love and you are together and you think of the word procreation while you're doing it, you will procreate and have a child. But if you think recreation, you're just loving each other because you want to express how you feel in a physical format, that will just result in generating more love, not in a child. You're going to be able to control it, but there will be some overlap until you can fully learn how to do this. So we urge you to take precautions in that way if you truly do not wish to procreate, but rather recreate. Remember, if you take back into yourself the shadow fear of getting pregnant when you recreate, you will end up procreating because the fear draws to you that which you do not want, because it's that which you keep thinking about. Whether you like the idea or you do not like the idea, when you have the idea in your mind and you perform an act, that is when it comes to you. So we wanted to mention that for sure, that whatever you think about. Okay, guys, they're showing me an example that I've mentioned maybe before. I've told my kids this. My ex-boyfriend was terrified of policemen, especially traffic cops. He was constantly scared, and every time he saw a police officer, he would shout out, "Pig, effing pig," like he would just be really angry, right? And I said to him one day that he's going to draw it to him if he keeps thinking about it. He's like, no, I'm going to push him away with my anger, right? Sure enough, the next day he got a ticket, and I think 2 or 3 days later he got another ticket. And what's really funny is when I did a background check on myself, because I wanted to show the Ecuadorian government that I'm not a criminal, and it said that I'm connected to these people, and it showed like 4 or 5 people from over 25 years ago that I knew. And from like 30 years ago, he was my boyfriend, right? So I haven't seen him or heard from him or talked to him since we broke up, right? So it's like, for me, it's like, whatever, I don't care. Well, his name came up, and I found out he had, the woman he left me for, he got married and divorced her. Then I found out that he, I think he's married to another woman in, like on the East Coast, which is crazy. He had never been there before. So that's where he's now, like in Georgia or something. I don't know. I can't remember what state. I don't care. But anyway, he's over there. And what's really funny is that, like, they're trying to draw conclusions that I was at once attached legally somehow to this guy, like, God, 30 years ago. And now he's living in Georgia, and he has had multiple arrests and multiple pullover, like, DUI and just anything against the police. And it looks like he's had like 6 or 7 violations. And it's like funny, like that's maybe his one lesson he hasn't learned yet, right? Is that what you think about is what you bring about. Even if the thing you bring about is not what you want to happen, if you're thinking about it, it's going to happen. Right? So they wanted me to relay this story so that you understand that even if it's not something you want, whether it's a child or anything, no matter what it is. So if you have fears, you're going to draw it to you. They're like case in point, also someone who's terrified of getting cancer, then that negativity of being afraid of that, even if that wasn't your path, even if it wasn't even in your life chart, if you're afraid of it, you'll draw it to you. So you need to stop thinking about it and only think about good health and feel grateful that you have good health, because you're going to procreate. You're going to be able, okay, now they're coming back in, they want to talk. You are going to become professional creators. You were already professional creators, but it took a long time to create the thing that you were thinking about in the world of duality, because you end up having so many negative thoughts. You're going to be in the fifth dimension soon, and when this happens, I mean, you're already there, but you're going to be anchored into the fifth dimension soon, is what they said. Okay, so you're going to be anchored into the fifth dimension soon, and when this is fully formed and you're anchored in, and we're talking, this is happening very soon, in the next 72 hours maybe. Everyone will anchor in at once, whether they are awake or not. It's going to be a rude awakening for some people, I think, because if they're thinking about negative stuff, they're going to bring it to them really quick. But they're saying, but because it's not a world of duality any longer, the thing they think about will be abated very quickly as well. So it will be an easier world to be in. They said expect the Pleiadians. They're definitely going to come and help you a lot more. In fact, expect all of us, but the ones that you'll be able to see will be the Lyrans and the Pleiadians. The Arcturians, you can see if your vibration is high, because they're very much, well, they're moving up as well, right? Yeah. So they said they're moving to the 11th dimension. Well, they've been in the 9th for forever. And they're moving up. Everyone is moving up, as above, so below, as below, so above. The whole universe is expanding at this time. So, okay. Yeah, they're saying, let's get back to the purple energy. The purple energies are not being brought about by the scattering effects of light. It's not being brought about by Chernobyl type accidents or explosions. It's not being brought about by sulfur in the air. The purple energy that you're seeing is literally energy. You're going to be able to see more and more energy as you get fully anchored into the fifth dimension. The people that are still asleep are trying to grasp, like, they're so scared that when the sky turns purple that they're grasping at anything. They're talking about lyrics from songs or poems from a long time ago that maybe they had purple skies too, and that's why it happened. And some people are retrofitting lyrics, like, they're referencing today. I read someone said that so-and-so talked about purple skies, and the song they're talking about actually says purple mountains, majesty, something about some kind of skies, but it wasn't purple, I don't think. But they're referencing Purple Rain, which I think is in Purple Haze by Jimi Hendrix. People are like, look, purple happened before in the sky, right? Purple Haze is about smoking purple weed, I think, and Purple Rain is about, I think, dropping acid, actually. But purple is also a royal color, so Purple Rain, R-A-I-N, might be a metaphor for R-E-I-G-N, because his name was Prince, after all. So anyway, so they're kind of relaying that to me, like what I was reading about, and this is what I've been asking about all day. So they're saying the purple skies come to us through energetic forms that are being sent to us from the grand central sun, coming through the portal of our own sun. Our magnetosphere is open so that we can receive this energy at this time. This is happening so that we can be anchored into the fifth dimension. They're saying, do not fear anything that may or may not come about as a result of this. Everything will be quickly reversed. The Pleiadians will be working around the clock to help you feel more comfortable as you get more adjusted and used to the way that your bodies feel. They're going to feel like new bodies. You are going to feel emotionally better and lighter. You'll bring, they're saying cash money. You're going to be bringing cash money. You're going to be able to bring wealth to yourself and abundance to yourself in a way that you never were before, where everything was opposition, 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 and you had to keep adjusting your thoughts to get it right. It's going to be so much easier. Just you think it coming, you open a business, you put the word out there, and they're taking this out of my mind. Bada boom, bada bing, it happens. They said we had to because we like that. We like that. Bada boom, bada bing. They said they like a lot of the things that I say, a lot of my funny phrases or sayings. Thank you, I do too. I say a lot of things, I think they sound funny. I don't know if I like them or not, but sometimes they're just hilarious to me, and I like the funny things. They said that's what we like about you, your jovial nature. Yeah, thank you. That's why I like you guys too. You're so positive and sweet. They said, so we're here. We're here as big brothers and sisters. We will help you in your thinking so that you can be a professional creator and procreate all of the things that you wish to have. Even if you do not wish to procreate a child, we will help you procreate everything else, okay? We will help you with, if you're an artist and you need ideas and inspiration, you can call upon us to say, hey, please come and help us. Or please come and help me with this idea, or help me put the highest vibration possible. And we will do our best to beam to you the energy of high vibration and artistic creativity. We want to be involved with you. We want to be here for you in a way that we were not able to before. When you're in the fifth dimension, it's going to be easier to access everything. We will be able to give you ideas through your writing and help you structure your lives. Some of us are very good at planning. You can ask us anything, and if we can't help, we will figure it out. We will still try to figure it out. Think of us as fairy godmothers in a way, even though we can't create things instantaneously in your world. That's not until you get to higher dimensions. You will be able to, though, when you access the higher dimensions for yourself, everything is going to become easier. And we do see your technologies are on the rise that will help. And we're going to see, we're seeing in the future a lot more vehicles that don't run on your current system of gasoline and petroleum. We see that everything in that arena will be changing, even though we're not going to. Well, even though you're going to have other methods of transportation beyond cars, cars are going to soon seem very primitive to you. So we think it's funny that you're spending so much time on that. Oh, and they're referencing now Jane Fonda and Sam Waterston both were arrested in Washington, D.C. as a result of the climate change thing. And so they're telling me that. They're thinking that they think that's a little silly, even though we have a great admiration for them standing up for their rights and for what they believe in. We think it's wonderful that people can express themselves and they're willing to put themselves in danger or harm's way or even costing themselves money to bring about a point. We love the passion that humans have for causes, and we admire that, because in our world we're a lot more in agreement than in your world. And we love that when there are clashes, that it doesn't always have to result in death or violence. That sometimes it just results in people shouting for what they believe in and getting arrested to raise public awareness. We have a great deal of admiration for that. So that's funny you guys like we're referencing that, because I talked to you about that earlier. I forgot. And I was going to mention it in the first part of the show and I forgot. So yay, Jane Fonda, we love you. And Sam Waterston too. And they're going to go back and film the last season of Grace and Frankie soon. But she was committed to 14 weeks, every Friday for 14 weeks. She doesn't mind getting arrested every single time. To the tune of $500 each, by the way, every week. All right. Okay, we are blanketing you with a very pale baby blue energy. So if you do see it in the skies, that's us. It's the energy of peace and comfort and an innocent and gentle form of love. We feel that in your world you're going to need this soon. Not because of anything that's going to specifically be happening or coming your way, but because when you anchor in, you're going to want to feel that extra level of comfort. Not just to be comfortable, but emotionally comforted. So we're sending a baby blue energy your way. We're always here. Call upon us whenever. We have to go now. Okay, they're saying we see that you're our vessel, which they mean me. You are, even though through telepathy, not the other kind of vessel. They're saying we see that you're getting very tired and you want to go. I do. We'll be back again when we can, maybe next month, maybe sooner, we don't know. Everything is according to divine timing, but when you anchor in the fifth dimension, you can come back and listen. Maybe in a week or 2 weeks, come back and listen again to this episode to see if you are aware of these things happening. But we're just sending you peace, love, energy of comfort, and an innocent joy. And that's where we're going to leave you for now. Be at peace, our beloved brothers and sisters. Thank you for listening to us. We are the Andromedans. Okay, and they're saying the equivalent of namaste. I can't hear it, but I get the energy of it. I'm bowing to them. Thank you, guys. Like, oh, thank you. We love to help. We're here to help humanity at this time, they said. Cool. Thank you, guys. Love you. They're like, we love all of you. That's awesome. All right, guys. Well, that's it. I'm going to go. I am very tired. They were right. Please remember to send in your ghost stories. We're coming up on Halloween very soon. And today's the 18th, and we have until the 30th to get the stories in so that I could prepare for Halloween, which is the 31st. So ghost stories. And then after that, I want you to think about your Santa Claus and holiday miracle stories. But that's it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all the things that you do to help promote the show. I know a lot of you are working hard at that, and I want to thank you for that. I am seeing a big difference. The numbers are going up, and I want you to promote me to all of your Facebook groups, even if they're yoga groups or meditation groups, because maybe we'll find some of our soul tribe over there. We might find the people that have been looking for this kind of information. You could look up, there's Ascension groups, all kinds of groups. Just say, hey guys, why don't you go listen to this show? I heard it and it's really cool. Not only if you think that's true. Don't promote it if you don't like it. Of course, if you don't like it, you wouldn't be here listening to it. So thank you for being here. I am grateful that we are all on this ascension journey together. It is so wonderful. We can experience this all as one. I think it's wonderful. How hard was it for all the spiritual masters hundreds of years ago to do this on their own? Thousands of years ago, some of them. And we get to do it together as a group. It's kind of cool, right? So I'm happy that we're all together. We all are one. Mitakue Oyasin. And, I'll be back tomorrow with all unique and original programming when we continue to read clairvoyance and the occult. So I am really happy you guys are listening to the show. And I'm so happy a lot of you have been writing to me, so yay! I've heard from Joy and Michelle, and I've heard about Riley, so Riley, you take care of that knee, please. Don't underestimate the power of ice. Seriously, put ice in a plastic bag, and I always have the single-use water bottles. I always refill them with tap water and keep them on hand just in case. And the square ones that are ice that for camping, you just put in the freezer and then you pop in your cooler when you go camping. Those really work well, especially on legs. But for the underneath part of the knee, I would say get just a water bottle filled with tap water and frozen, and put it in a plastic bag or wrap it in a wet towel so it won't be too cold. Anyway, and that's advice for everybody. Anyway, just keep some ice on hand no matter what. So if there's ever an injury, bada boom, bada bing, you got a solution on hand. If you're prepared, you don't have to keep thinking about something happening, but if you're prepared, you know what? As soon as I put ice in my freezer, I haven't needed it for like 9 or 10 months. But when I needed it before and I had to wait for it, it was so annoying. Anyway, that's my weird ice advice. Hey, ice is in advice. Okay, that's it, guys. I'm going to go to sleep because I got plans tomorrow in about 12 hours, so yay. All right, I hope that you guys, I hope that you are doing well and take this stuff under advisement. Don't forget to sleep right, eat right, drink plenty of fluids, take your minerals and vitamins more in plants than in anything. Just stay safe. Keep yourself hydrated and nutritionally aligned and spiritually in tune, because when we anchor in, you're going to want all of those things in place. So there it is. All right, I love you guys. Thank you. I'm signing off with peace and joy and the high vibes of the holy fifth dimension. Until next time, guys, peace. Do you ever wish you could look into the next chapter in your book of life and see what's coming next? What does the universe have in store for you? I can help you with that. I will give you a Celtic cross reading, which is 10 cards, or you can ask me 3 questions, and I use 3 cards per question. So that's 9 cards, or I can channel your higher guidance, or maybe God directly for you. Maybe you want to talk to your dear departed Aunt Edna, because maybe you have a few questions and she was the smartest person you knew. If your deceased relatives are available or your ascended masters, I can channel them for you personally. Let me have 1 hour to show you the future in your next chapter of your book of life. Readings are $75, and it takes me an hour to an hour and a half to complete. And for this price, you will also be hooked up to the healing grid around the planet for free, which means yours truly, me, I will be giving you Reiki 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the rest of your life. All you have to do is let me know. metaphysicalsoulspeak@gmail.com, and we will explore your future together.